you please stand for the flag salute and a moment of silence?
This is to advise those present at the September 10th, 2024 regular workshop action meeting of the Board of Education of the City of Pleasantville in the County of Atlantic that notice was given on January the 20th, 2024 of the revised annual designation of the regular monthly board meetings as required by the provisions of Chapter 231 of the laws of 1975. Therefore, has been distributed for publication in the press, posted in the administration building, and forwarded to the city clerk of the City of Pleasantville within the time required by the said act.
Roll call, Ms. White.
Ms. Alberto, Ms. Clemens, Ms. King, Ms. Mello, Ms. Morgan, Ms. Silver, Ms. Waters, Ms. Gray, Ms. Rowell.
Here. Clemens. For the record, Ms. Clemens is here. We're good? Yes. Next, 1.5, public comments. We ask if you come, could you please come, state your name and your address, and please come and be courteous, respectful, and we cannot discuss any personnel matters. First, we have Mrs. Priscilla Noel.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
A few superficial items. 3.13, as far as photography, I just wanted to make sure that those who are photographing our students, especially those who have deeper skin tones, are cognizant of that, and that it is done and conducted with care so that everyone looks illuminated appropriately. 3.25, as far as the scoreboards, I am very pleased to see that that is on there because it's been at least, as I was keeping track, at least 2 years that scoreboard wasn't functioning in the gymnasium. As far as new hires, I think that if you are having positions that are open in general, that they should be on the website because the website does not reflect when there are open positions. And that is inconsistent. I know for a fact that when I checked the website, there were candidates who came in and were told that there were positions open that weren't on the website. So there needs to be consistency. And for those candidates who you may have not hired, there needs to be consideration to have a reply thanking them for applying, but that you move forward with other candidates because that also shapes the perception of whether somebody might want to apply for another position. And it creates a sense of personalization, or at least that you care that they did apply and took the time to come out. As far as meetings, and y'all about to vote in the board minutes, I think it's disheartening, and I understand that the only reasoning that was given for the cancellation of the July special meeting and then the rescheduling of the August 13th was a quorum or a lack of a quorum. I think that is very disheartening when every member up here makes a commitment to be here and serve the community. It is disheartening because it delays and it has a cascading effect on on what the employees, including the superintendent, can execute. Because if it's the other way around and they start to make moves without board approval, I'm sure they'll be penalized. So y'all, whoever needs to take, I know, I get it, things go on, but you need to take in consideration for the operation of this district that you need to be present and you need to serve in a timely and considerate fashion, because the student scheduling was messed up. It's still not right because they had to wait for board approval. All the things that help daily activities, y'all impact. So I think y'all need to take that into deep consideration if you're serving this community appropriately.
Thank you, Mrs. Noel. Next, we have Kevin Mays. Good evening.
I just need to be heard from the executive session.
Okay. If it has anything to do with personal matters or anything like that, we can't discuss that. Did you have a conversation with our superintendent first?
No one has been responding to me.
I can't hear you.
Oh, for 3 weeks I've been trying to contact them and email them and no one's been responding. So that's why I can't hear you.
So, this is what I recommend you to do. Call tomorrow, make an appointment with the superintendent, and then you can come back because the superintendent isn't here today. So, we really can't discuss personnel matters. So, to be cautious and to caution the board to keep us out of trouble, make an appointment with the superintendent for yourself, for your safety and the board's safety. Make an appointment with the superintendent, and we can go from there.
I've tried that for 3 weeks.
No. Okay, but I'm just asking you, just make an appointment with the superintendent, okay? And if she does not get back to you, you can email me and let me know, okay? I'm the board president. My name is Doris Rowe. If you look on the website, you'll see my email address. So when you make the appointment, if she does not get back to you in a timely fashion, email me personally, and we'll go from there. I just want to follow protocol. Okay? Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Mays. Next, we have Kathy Watson.
Looks like you're outsourcing tutoring, teachers tutor students after school. And it looks like we're hiring this online group called Imagine Learning for $383,996. And it's an online tutoring. It's 3.19. I divided that out. Almost $400,000 for tutoring. That's 80. If I was to be paid, if the teachers were to be paid one-on-one tutoring with our personal children that we know and love, that's 8,533 teacher hours. So that's a lot of money. And to be outsourcing tutoring and to be outsourcing it for videoing, it's a video service. It's not one-on-one. And I teach special ed, and I know when I teach special ed algebra, I know for a fact I need to be watching what my little kid, what my student is writing to know where that child is going wrong. And I also was working during COVID, and it was very difficult to share I have to share my screen, the child would have to share his or her screen, and it's hard to point exactly where they're messing up, where they're going sideways. And so if they don't understand, if somebody's not right there teachers, I can call up the teacher and say, hey, what does this kid need? You know, what else should I work on? Because I assume they're going to just show up with their homework and say, here, help me with this homework. They'll help me get this homework filled out. If they're going online, I'll get the homework filled out, and then that's it. Like, what other skills are they working on? You know, some of my kids might say to me, my ninth graders might say to me, you know, I'm trying to build a relationship with rapport. They might say, oh, I used to be in band, but I don't have band now. I can go contact the band teacher and then network and help this kid in more ways other than just like this outside source of who are these people. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Thank you. Go ahead.
This is a...
Mrs. Watson, I'll have Mrs. White elaborate on this funding program for you. Yes, you can come up, yeah.
This is a grant that the CNI department was awarded through the Department of Education. It is for high-impact tutoring, and from my understanding, it's one-on-one tutoring with this agency and the CNI team. We went out for a competitive contracting. There was several vendors that submitted proposal, and the CNI team, which is the supervisors, reviewed their proposals, and they selected this Imagine Learning as the vendor to provide services for our students.
So they're coming in to tutor our kids,
From my understanding, they're supposed to come in and do the
which is
tutoring.
outsourcing our jobs. Like, I already have a relationship with these kids, and that's a lot of money. Almost $400,000. If you look back in tutoring in the past, I don't think we spent, I don't know, but that's a lot of money, $400,000.
Mrs. Watson, have you had a conversation with Dr. Martinez in regards to this?
I've been trying to email her.
Well, my question to you is, email her again. If she does not get back to you, like I said to Mr. Bates, email me. You know my email. Once you email me, the board president, we'll go from there. Okay?
I just don't think it's a good idea.
Well,
understand you looked around and you found the best people to do it. We're the best people to do it.
Right.
You hired us. We've
Right.
been here for 20 years. Like, I know your kids. I know your families.
Right.
Now
And don't get me wrong. I know you probably taught all of our kids in here and our grandkids.
Sure I have.
I know you have, but I just want to follow protocol, keep the board out of trouble, and as long as we do follow the protocols and we follow the procedures, then we know we're good, okay? But if you would do that for me, email her, call her, get in touch with her. If you don't get no response, email me personally, my email address, and then we can go from there.
Okay, thank you.
Is Mr. Mays still in here too? Kevin? Did he leave? Mr. Mays, did he leave? Okay. Mrs. Diaz, can you please come here? Can you tell Mrs. Diaz to come here, please? Can we have Mrs. Diaz to come here, please? Because I want it to be on the record. Everything I do, I want to be on the record with the public when I'm in a meeting.
Here's Mr. Mays, right there.
Hey, Ms. Diaz, could you come here, please? Hey, Mr. Mays. Okay. Come here, Mrs. Diaz. This is Dr. Martinez's secretary. You can email her. She understands that Dr. Martinez will be expecting an email from you and Mrs. Watson. Okay? So she knows now, and we'll go from there, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. You have a great day. Thanks for coming. May I have a motion to close public comments?
Question. I just got off of work, so I can't sign the sheet. I would like to speak as a taxpayer.
Mr. Page, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, you had to be here to sign the sheet, because if we do it for you, that means we have to break the rules for everyone.
I couldn't leave my job to come and sign.
And I get that, Mr. Page.
I have a question to ask as a taxpayer.
Mr. Page, please.
I have a question to ask as a taxpayer.
Mr. Page, please do not do this. You can sign up for the general comments and ask them, but as a courtesy, if we do it for you, everyone else is going to be getting off of work. I know people have to work, but we cannot do this because we're not following the rules. I'm very sorry.
So can you explain what do I have to do the next time that I'm not here? How do I get my name on the list?
Can you address, please, Mr. Hamlin?
So the process, as I understand it, is when the meeting starts, or before the start of the meeting, there are two lists. One is a list to speak on agenda items only, which is what members of the public are doing now. And then there's another list to speak after the board finishes its action, and that's on any issue that you want to raise. So you just have to sign up on the list like everybody else, and at that point you'll be permitted to speak on both items.
So since the second list is later in the meeting, can I sign the list now? For the second?
That's what Ms. Rowell just said.
What?
You can sign up to speak later.
Where is it? Where is it?
She has the list. She'll give it to you. She said that earlier.
I'm sorry, I'm thinking she's talking about the first one.
I
But I
understand.
can sign that list.
Yes.
Thank you.
May I have a motion to close public comments? Motion by Ms. Clemens. May I have a second? Second by Ms. Silver. Any questions? Roll call, Ms. White.
Ms. Clemens? Ms. King?
Yes.
Ms. Morgan? Ms. Silver? Ms. Gray? Ms. Roel?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next is 1.6. The superintendent isn't here today, so we won't have a report. Do you have the fire truck? Okay. 1.7 is the monthly fire drill and safety. We won't have to have that next month. May I have a motion to approve the board minutes 2.1? Motion by Ms. Clemens. May I have a second? Second by Ms. Gray. Any questions, board? Yes, go ahead, Mrs. King.
Is in the minutes, the August 20th minutes, item number 1.7, the Alamo presentation. What the minutes does not reflect is what is Alamo? And why did they present a presentation at our last meeting? That's not reflected in the minutes. And I think it needs to be explained why they were here and what impact their presentation makes to the school district.
Okay.
If we're going to revise them, we should don't approve them.
So, we need to, Cassie, we're going to table the minutes, but we need you to take back your motions because the minutes need to be revised. Mrs. King said in the presentation that we had, that there was some detailed notes. This was not included in the minutes. And who did the second? Ms. Gray, you were saying yours? Could I get a motion to table the minutes from August 20th to the next board meeting? Motion by Mrs. Silver. May I have a second?
I second.
Seconded by Mrs. King. Any questions? Any questions, board? Roll call, Ms. White.
Ms. Clemens? Ms. King?
Yes.
Ms. Morgan? Ms. Silver? Ms. Gray? Ms. Rowan?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next, finance. May I have a motion for 3.2 to 3.28? Motion by Mrs. Clemens. May I have a second? Second by Mrs. Silver. Any questions, board? Yes, Ms. Morgan. Yeah.
I want to know if we can table 3.19, because I do agree with the worker came up to the microphone, because during COVID, we had a lot of children that fell behind from doing things on trying to put a classroom computer. So with this right here, tutoring, and it's going on, I don't think that it's going to benefit our students. I think they work, well not I think, but they work better on face-to-face, one-on-one. So through the internet, we had a lot of children that struggled. So I don't think this is a good idea, so I'm asking, can we table it? And then maybe we all can meet with the superintendent if anyone feels any different, instead of just meeting with the staff, so we can let them know how we feel, because she wasn't here when we had COVID. We were, well, some of us was.
One second. Also, is this a grant that we can table for next month, or do we have to use it in a certain amount of time?
I believe this ends December 31st.
Okay, so does anyone have any questions about tabling this?
Is it great? I said it's great.
Well, if it's a grant, it doesn't cost the district money, right? Unless there's,
Oh, the state is giving us the money.
all right.
The money's not the issue. It's the one-on-one, face-to-face with the students, instead of using the internet to teach our children.
Okay. So if you want to table it.
And I just,
Well, tabling it's going to shorten your time, because if you approve it in October, you just have November, December, 2 months to actually get it done.
okay, yeah, I just want to, not right now. It's over, I'm sorry. Just want to make sure it's not Mrs. Morgan, one of those grants that if we don't use it right away, that we'll lose it or something like that. That's why I questioned that, but we can table it. Does anybody have any questions in regards to tabling it?
Even if it was one of those grants and we didn't use it to lose it, when it comes to our children, and it's going to sound funny because we all want to use what we get, but if it's not going to benefit our children, then they can have it back.
You don't know that.
Does-
Would you clarify this a bit more for me, please? Now, you're saying that to use this particular grant and this tutoring system, we have a short window to use it, is that what you're saying? Or is it spread throughout the year?
The grant expires December 31st. So we have to use the funding by December 31st.
Okay, so it means that if we don't approve it at this rate, then we only have October, November, December,
Then we would only have 60 days to use it.
it's a grant. Well, how can a system, a tutoring system be harmed? How can a tutoring system be harmed? And who makes that determination that they're not going to learn? We can't.
No, we just were saying when we had it during COVID, we had a lot of students that didn't get it.
Okay, that's 4 years ago we're talking about right now. There's a tutoring system that's being granted. Oh, this particular tutoring system didn't work for them? Is that what you're saying? third and fourth graders. It's only for third and fourth graders. So if we have an opportunity for funding for a tutoring system for third and fourth graders that only has a very short window of use, I don't see where there could be any harm in using that system. I don't. If you have a tutoring system and they're in school and you got an opportunity to use it, why not? Well, why wouldn't it work? I mean, we cannot determine whether it's going to be successful or not until it's implemented.
Have we had this system before, Mrs.
Well, no, we haven't had this type of tutoring service in a while.
So what service did we have last year and the year before that?
Well, we do Power Hour internally.
Okay, so how did the Power Hour work? And how was the numbers in Power Hour?
Well, I don't have to ask Dr. Martinez or supervisor.
So this is where we're at, board. We can you can either table it, or we can table it, or we can pass it. You withdrew it, right? And she withdrew it. Miss Silver, secretary. And she they already withdrew their. You wouldn't have this conversation. No, the first one, yes.
Can everyone make sure they talk in the mic, because the technician said they can't hear the board members.
Okay. So, I'm sorry, said that, Ms. Silver? Yeah, we'll take this in executive session, okay? Yeah, we'll take this in executive session. Next, any more questions about the finance? Any more questions about the finance? No more questions? May I? Okay. So we're going to take 3 point. Yeah, it's going to be a resolution for 3.19. We'll discuss it.
Are we approving the other finance items?
Yes. Yes.
Everything except for 3.119.
What are you going to do?
What's that? The 3.19. Right. Everything except 3.19 because we'll be in closed session. Yes, Ms. King. Yes, that's what that's it.
I do have a question about 3.29.
Yes, Ms. King.
I know we discussed this, but is there
Yes.
any way that we would table this and discuss this in the?
Yes.
As a-
Yes. And we're also going to take for the public 3.29 in executive session. No, it's with the finance too. So we're gonna, no, we already have the motion on the floor. Okay, do we need the motion to take 3.29 too? Yes, okay. So we have to take back the motion for everything. So you take back, Mrs. Silver, the motion to approve 3.2 to 3.28. Mrs. Gray,
Ms. Clemens had the motion for that.
Okay.
Second, Ms. Silver, and first, Ms. Clemens.
That was the first one. This is the second one where we wanted to vote on the whole agenda. And she took it back already. You missed it. Yes. 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 May I please have a motion finance, 3.2 to 3.29. No, 3.28 with the exceptions of 3.29 and 3.19. Is everyone clear? Any questions? I need a motion. You need to, listen, we need to talk into the mic. I know this is a little bit confusing going back and forth, but we need a motion for finance, 3.2 to 3.27, excluding 3.28 and 3.19 to be discussed in executive session. I need a motion.
I have a question. 3.29.
Well, we're discussing 3.29 in executive session. Mrs. King just had a question on that, and she asked could that be tabled to executive session. 28, because 3.29 is going to be discussed. Mrs. King wanted to discuss that in executive session, as well as 3.19. I need someone to move it.
I make a motion that we accept.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. King. May I have a second? Second by Ms. Silver. Any questions? No questions? Roll call this way.
Ms. Clemens?
No.
Ms. King?
Yes.
Ms. Morgan?
No.
Ms. Silver?
Yes.
Ms. Drake? Ms. Rowell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
We'll be discussing 3.19 and 3.29 in executive session. Just so everyone knows, we have not voted on those items yet. We will be discussing them in executive session. Next, transportation. May I have a motion for 4.1? Motion by Mrs. Morgan, second by Mrs. Clemens. Any questions?
Yes.
Yes,
My
Ms.
question
Morgan.
is, have we had agreement with Camden County before? Or is this one?
Camden County is transporting,
I know what it's saying, but I'm asking, have we had an agreement with Camden County's transportation before? Is this something new?
yeah, this is something new. This is a cooperative that we're using to free up some of our bus drivers for day-to-day.
Say it again?
For day-to-day transporting. So we use this cooperative so they can transport opposed to using one of our bus drivers for finance.
So we're going to contract with them, so our employees don't have to do the job?
Right.
As I understand, Mrs. Morgan, that's not totally correct. This is not taken away from anyone's job in the district. No one's jobs are being cut. No one's jobs are being taken away. The way it was explained to me, this is for like the kids that are homeless kids or kids that are disadvantaged and need to go far out. We don't have too many kids in the district like that, to my understanding, that does that. But this job is not replacing any of our staff in the district at all.
Okay, I have another question. With that being said, instead of employing Camden County, why we can't make that where we employ our own and just have that certain bus driver do the transportation that we take from no one else instead of just giving Camden our own?
I had that same question too. About
Why we can't hire our own?
having our own person do that. But we have this.
Yes, we need bus drivers. We need bus drivers.
Yeah, but we need bus drivers. So it's not like they're on a everyday route, like on understanding like our regular drivers. They're not taking our drivers' jobs, but Mrs. Marcus can elaborate on this.
But what I'm saying is, even, I'm listening to what you're saying, maybe we can advertise that this would be like a certain route, and then maybe a bus driver will take that route. Might be someone that just want to work a couple of days, or however the case may be. They may be the ones that want to take that route instead of paying Camden, when we may find out only here if it's advertised correctly.
Let Mrs. Marcus elaborate.
So we can't hear you.
So this is a unique situation for a particular student who has moved to several different home placements due to an outside agency. So this particular student was previously bused from the Sicklerville area to Pinelands, and then has already moved from this. So it's basically outsourced because we don't have enough drivers, and there's a lot of mobility with the situation.
And like I said, while we can't advertise for that job position, specifically for that student to get transportation, instead of giving the money to Camden, when we could do our own county.
Also, Ms. Morgan, our part-time drivers are only limited to 31 hours a week, and then our full-timers, we have 9 full-timers, anything over 35 hours, they would go into overtime.
Again, why we can't just hire someone just for that position.
Well, I think
How many students are we transporting? Just one student?
One student, and it's a unique situation. Yes, Ms. King?
well, from the action, the information provided here, it sounds to me like the student probably lives in Camden County. And the transportation is either from here to there or from there to here to Pleasantville. One Pleasantville student to Pineland Learning. So they must live close to there. I think explain to us about students that live homeless children.
Yes.
You know, this school district has to accommodate their transportation to a learning facility.
Okay. Mrs. Farkas, is this student is that their county or their school district?
Can you come to the?
Okay, they were you know what, they were in the Sicklerville area, and I believe Sicklerville is Sicklerville Camden? I'm sorry, what was that? They're from the Sicklerville area, so is Sicklerville considered Camden?
So why?
Okay, so that's why, because they're, the individual has a unique situation. That is their home district. So I believe the home district has to do the transportation, and then it just comes to us for board approval. So if the student was here in Pleasantville, we would have the contract because it's the Pleasantville area, if I'm understanding this correctly, or the Pleasantville district. Or say it was Atlantic City, then it's Atlantic City would contract it, or vice versa, wherever their school district is, because it's coming from them. Am I explaining that right?
I understand that part, but my question now is this student a Pleasantville student?
No.
So why do we have something to do with it if it's not our student?
Because it's a unique situation, which unfortunately this is where they live, so their home district has to be responsible. And we have to also approve it, unfortunately.
I don't understand. Maybe just explain it to me, because I don't understand why we have to do this.
Oh, Mrs. Farkas. Okay. Mrs. Farkas really doesn't want to disclose any more confidentiality without getting too involved or exposing the person. But it is their home district, and since it is their home district, their home district has to supply the transportation.
There's just some things by law we have to do.
Yes.
I just need a better explanation. I understand all that, but I still just don't understand why, if it's not a Pleasantville student, why do we have to pay?
Because they're not a Pleasantville student, they are a Camden County student. Well, Sicklerville is considered Camden County, so that's their school district. Now, if they were, say they lived in Pleasantville, it would be under us because they're Pleasantville, they live in the Pleasantville district, so Pleasantville would be responsible. It's almost like when we send our kids to another school, like we're responsible.
Yeah, I know, that's why I asked, was this a Pleasantville student?
No, I'm sorry, no, they're from Sicklerville, and Sicklerville, I believe, is Camden County, if I'm not mistaken. So it's Camden County's responsibility to do it.
So why are we,
Yes, please. She's gonna clarify.
yeah, because I
Just
don't
trying to
understand.
give you.
Is there some factors that we are not aware of with this situation? Is this a special situation?
Yes,
So there are factors that we are not aware of, correct?
yes,
That cannot be discussed right now?
yes. Thank you.
So if a particular student in general, no specific student, the guardian or parent resides in Pleasantville, then the district is fiscally responsible and responsible for providing transportation. So a parent and guardian originally resided in Pleasantville, however, the student may never have attended Pleasantville.
So why we can't hire one of our own to do the transportation?
I'm just discussing the situation
So
concerning this.
that's my major question. So if we're responsible, which I have no problem with that, but if we're responsible, why pay Camden when we can pay our own? That's my whole thing.
Okay, what we're gonna do right now is, we're gonna talk about this in executive session, because I don't know how much more without getting into trouble, or we gotta protect the rights of the students.
Right.
So,
Okay.
who made the motion for this? We need you to take it back.
I believe I do. So I'm going to rescind my motion.
And who seconded? Ms. Cummings, okay. May I have a motion to table, transportation?
Motion.
Motion by Mrs. Morgan, second by, who second? Second by Mrs. Clemens. Any questions for it? Roll call.
Ms. Clemens? Ms. King?
Yes.
Ms. Morgan?
Yes.
Ms. Silver?
Yes.
Ms. Gray? Ms. Royal?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next, facilities. Board, I want you to, we have someone on here that wants to use our facility, and they are a senior group, and I was wondering if the board would entertain waiving the fees. We have an auxiliary group here that wants to use our facilities, and they're being charged a fee. So I wanted to know if the board would entertain waiving their fees, because they're more on the senior side. And to me, I just feel like when you get there, you've done your time. Why not? So it's up to the board. I asked the board, did they want to waive their fees? I'm sorry. We tabled all of it because it's transportation. Because Mrs. Morgan had questions on that. Yes, that's the only, because that's the only thing on it. It's only 4.4, Mrs. Conley.
4.3 is fair. 4.4 is fair.
The only, yes, we tabled the whole thing. Now, I'm asking if we could waive the fees for senior auxiliary group that wants to bring our, the auxiliary gym, the group fitness exercise class.
What, with Cat Young?
Yes,
Okay.
it's on the facilities tab. If you go back to the facilities tab, you'll see them on the bottom. 100-106.
And why do you want to waive, is that what you asked me?
Yeah, I wanted to waive the fees
Okay.
because it was asked in committee, but I said we need to get the consent of the full board. Is this the fee right here, Mrs. White? The 130, or is it the 130 weekly? I just said because the seniors have done their time, why not? I'm only one person now. I'm asking the board for legal. That's why I got to say that. Right.
What will they be doing?
So we have to take that back. We have to take the motion back. No? Okay. Yeah, so may I have a motion to, if you want to table it, if you want to approve it, say yes or no about the fees or not. May I have a motion to waive the fees for the middle school auxiliary gym group fitness exercise class? Pat Young would be 130. And the usage.
I say yes.
I need a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Mrs. Silver. May I have a second? Second by Mrs. Gray. Questions?
Is this open to the public? Is it free to the public? Or Monday?
Is it open?
to Thursday? 6 to 7.
Yes. Do you have the dialogues to that? Yes, I think it's open to the public, yes.
And community, don't say we're no fees charged.
No, I said no fees because it's the seniors.
It does not indicate that. If they're,
Are they charging anyone to attend this? Why do you know?
It doesn't indicate that on the facility usage.
Or it doesn't indicate that they're charging anyone?
It doesn't indicate on the facility usage.
I'm only going by what Ms. White said.
And this is for the community, correct? All community can attend?
Can all the community attend Ms. White?
It's the auxiliary gym, so there's a limit to capacity.
I would say yes, if they are not charging the community.
if it's free.
If it's free to the community, absolutely.
I say yes, but we don't have clarification. There's a fee.
Do we have paperwork on that?
Do you have any paperwork on that, Ms. White? Do you have the application that you filled out? All right, yeah, it's supposed to be free, so we're in the middle of a vote, so we really can't. I need someone to say yes or no. Oh, well, yes.
Ms. Clemens? Ms. King?
I'm going to abstain.
Ms. Morgan? Ms. Silver?
I'm going to abstain for further
Ms. Gray? Ms. Rowell?
I'm gonna say yes.
Motion fails.
Next, human resources. 5.1. Yeah. Oh, wait. Okay. All right, yeah, we have 2 more on facilities. May I have a motion to approve the other facilities? 5.1, it's everything else except the auxiliary room. Motion by Mrs. King, may I have a second? Second by Mrs. Clemens. Any questions? No questions? Roll call, Ms. Wright.
Ms. Clemens? Ms. King?
Yes.
Ms. Morgan? Ms. Silver?
Yes.
Ms. Gray? Ms. Rowell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next, human resources. May I have a motion for 6.1 to 6.8? Motion by Mrs. Clemens. May I have a second? Second by, who seconded? Mrs. Morgan. Any questions for it?
Yes. One question.
Yes.
On the, where it says rescind of offer of employment,
Which number?
is B on 18/49.
Which number, Ms. Morgan?
B. It's only one here that says rescind offer of employment.
Which page is that on, Ms. Morgan? 17?
Yes.
Oh.
No. The next one.
Okay.
Well, whatever one that say rescind offer of employment,
Yeah, I see it's on, it's on page 18.
all right, my question is, was this the employee that didn't want the position, or did the superintendent take the position back?
I don't know. It's not here.
Okay.
Oh, wait, it's Terrell. It's based on policy 4123, she said. They did not meet the requirements. Any other questions, Ms. Morgan? Roll call, Ms. Morgan.
Ms. Clemens? Ms. King?
Yes.
Ms. Morgan?
Yes.
Ms. Silver? Ms. Gray? Ms. Rowell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next is, we have a motion for study curriculum. We have a motion for curriculum and instructions for, oh, I'm sorry, please forgive me. May I have a motion for policy 7.1 to 7.4? Motion by Mrs. King. Have a second? Second? Second by Mrs. Clemens. Any questions for it? No questions?
Yeah, I have a question. Okay. For the policy 0141, board member number and term. Is that for, like,
That's for
something that's made up where board members can't speak at the microphone?
Which policy, Ms. Morgan?
014.
No, I believe this. No, didn't this come from Strauss Esme?
This is policy from Strauss Esme, they just excluded some language, so it's still the same. There's nothing about board members not speaking at the mic, it's just revised language from Strauss Esme for board members. The terms remain the same and the number of members.
I got it. I was at the wrong one. I'm in 7.3. I was speaking there.
Any more questions? Roll call, Ms. White.
Ms. Clemens?
Yes, but what's the 7.2?
Is it no from 7.2? You abstain from 7.3? Ms. King?
Yes.
Ms. Morgan?
Yes to everything besides 7.3.
Ms. Silver?
Yes.
Ms. Gray? Ms. Rowan?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next, curriculum and instructions. May I have a motion for 8.1 to 8.4? Motion by Mrs. King. May I have a second? Don't speak at once. I need a second for curriculum and instructions. Second by Mrs. Silver. Thank you. Questions, board?
Yes. With the curriculum, did we ever get the schedules right for the children?
They're currently working on that this morning. But what I'll do is, once I find out that they have completed it, I'll make sure the whole board is emailed once it's complete and final, but I know they're working on it. All I know is that they're working on it, and once it's complete, I'll email the board and let them know. I'll conference with Dr. Martinez tomorrow, and I'll ask her when the time frame will be complete. And hopefully it should be complete by the end of this week, before the end of this week. And I will make sure the board is emailed and apprised of it. Any other questions? Any questions? Roll call, Ms. White.
Ms. Clemens? Ms. King?
Yes.
Ms. Morgan? Ms. Silver? Ms. Gray? Ms. Rowan?
Yes.
Motion carries.
And as for the schedules in the first day of school, on behalf of the board and myself and everyone up here, we want to apologize to the staff. We want to apologize to the parents, the grandparents, the guardians, anyone that has children in the district. We are working on it, and I will be talking to Dr. Martinez tomorrow, and I will get a time frame of when everything will be complete. I will make sure that the board knows when it will be complete. So with that, once again, I apologize. I also apologize for the transportation. I know that was probably a little hiccup, but on behalf of myself and the board, we want to apologize for that to the parents, to the staff, to guardians, foster parents, anyone that has children that they have in the district. We'd like to apologize to you. We're working on that. And also, once I find out when that will be complete, I'll make sure that I email the board, and I'll make sure that you guys are aware of it. And with that, we're going to go into executive session. May I have a motion to go into executive? May I have a motion to go into executive session? Motion by Mrs. King. May I have a second? Second by Mrs. Gray. Roll call, Ms. White.
Ms. Clemens? Ms. King?
Yes.
Ms. Morgan?
Don't you supposed to read about us going to the executive session? Somebody supposed to make a motion?
Can you, excuse me, can you please read that? I'm so sorry. We apologize. We apologize to the community, to the staff, and everyone is here. Would you please read that? We're so sorry.
It is hereby resolved that the Pleasantville Board of Education may go into a closed or private session for which the public shall be excluded in accordance with the provisions as set forth in NJSA 10-4-12 and 10-4-13. The following subjects shall be discussed on this date in the session of the board closed to the public: personnel, pupil matters pending, and anticipated litigation. Be it further resolved that the discussion in closed session will be disclosed to the public at this time or a future meeting of the board when it is no longer necessary to maintain the confidential nature of the items discussed. Ms. Morgan?
Yes.
Ms. Silver? Ms. Gray? Ms. Roel?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Morgan, all in favor? Aye. Okay. Next, we have to go back to the transportation 4.4. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mrs. King, second? Second by Mrs. Silver. Yeah. The transportation 4.4. Yes. Mm-hmm. Questions? No questions? Roll call. This transportation. Oh, we have to vote on all of transportation, I'm so sorry. May I have a motion? I'm sorry, we need a motion for 4.1 to 4.4. I'm sorry. 4.1. Yes. Oh, I need to rescind. Ms. King, rescind. Who second? Ms. Silver, you rescind. Okay. Now, may I have a motion for transportation, the whole transportation, 4.2 to 4.4? Motion by Ms. King, second by Mrs. Morgan. Any questions? No questions? Roll call, Ms. White.
Ms. Alberto? Ms. Clemens? Ms. King?
Yes.
Ms. Morgan? Ms. Silver?
Yes.
Ms. Gray? Ms. Rowland?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Next, we have finance. Is 3.19 and 3.29. Oh, yes.
Perhaps they should be
Separate?
separate.
Okay. May I have a motion for 3.19 in the finance? Motion by Mrs. Clemens, second by
Motion. Second.
Ms. Gibbon. Questions? No questions? Roll call, Ms. White.
Ms. Clemens? Ms. King?
Yes.
Ms. Morgan? Ms. Silver?
Yes.
Ms. Gray? Ms. Rowell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next is the finance other one, 3.29. May I have a motion? Motion by Mrs. Clemens, second. Second by Mrs. Morgan. Any questions for it? No questions? Roll call, Ms. White.
Ms. Clemens? Ms. King?
No.
Ms. Morgan? Ms. Silver?
No.
Ms. Gray? Ms. Rowell?
No.
Motion fails.
Next is public comments. General matters only. Ms. Priscilla Noel. Ms. Noel. Mrs. Noel. Next, Mr. Jerome Page, Pastor Jerome Page. Pastor Jerome Page, going once, going twice. Next, public, next is board member comments. Ms. Silver. Ms. King.
I wish everyone a pleasant evening.
Ms. Clemens. Ms. Morgan.
I want to say that I apologize for the students not having a schedule, even though the president spoke on our behalf, but I wanted to personally do it because that has never happened before. And like I said, I've been here since 2015, and this is the very first time that I've seen this disaster. I'm hoping that by the time they fix this, that we can probably reward our children with something, since they were the ones that affected. Maybe we can do something to reward them for going through this. Secondly, I'm just going to say thank you everybody for coming out.
Thank you, Mrs. Morgan. Mrs. Gray? Next. We would like to thank everyone for coming out. Also, I was unable to make the back to school for the staff. I missed it. I was unable to be here. I just want to welcome the staff back. Hope you have a great year. I hope you have a blessed year, happy, safe, and healthy year. We want to thank you for coming out to the board meeting, because you could have been somewhere else, but just want to thank you for coming to the board meeting. And we will see you next month. And we hope that you get home safe and have a blessed week. May I have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Mrs. Morgan, second by Mrs. Clemens. All in favor? Aye.